Welcome to Love Life After, where we embark on the beautiful journey of love, life, and resilience. I am Christelle, your host and friend on this exploration. Whether you're joining us for the first time or you're a cherished member of our family, thank you for being here. On this podcast, we'll share personal tales of triumph, heartache, and the incredible transformation that unfold after every challenge. So grab your favorite glass of wine, cup of tea, or coffee and find a cozy spot and let's dive into this magic of love, life, and everything that happens after the obstacle. And remember, your story is our inspiration, and together we'll navigate this journey ahead.
Baby, you're my coat. She got me feeling like a dope fiend. I'm addicted to a black queen. Baby, you're my coat. She got me feeling like a dope fiend. I'm addicted to a black queen.
Welcome back to Love Life After. I am Christelle, and on today's episode, I am going to be sharing a journey of my life that I felt like at the time was very heartbroken and also very transformative in my life, of course, at the time. So, this story is going to be about how my postpartum journey started. But I'm also going to share a little bit about marriage and moments where in my life that I felt like, everything changed. Everything was unraveling like literally right before me. And well, I guess before everything else came back together. Like I've been saying though, this season, if this is your first time listening to this season, I've talked about it in all through into this episode that I'm not gonna edit anything out of this season at all, only because I really want it to be something where I'm really being vulnerable and sharing my story without feeling shame or without feeling like I have to take something out of my life. So whatever you get is what you get. And if y'all have any questions regarding anything that I'm saying or say in this season at all, feel free to let me know. I'm really talking through. I will have a lot of pauses, so just bear with me. But I'm really gonna be like very transformative with this story because it was something that really changed my life. And I just want to share that with you guys. So, uh, so like, okay, in the beginning, I had no idea what postpartum was. Like when I say I have no idea what it was, I didn't even know it was a thing until later on. Um, actually, years later, maybe a few years later. So I want to share. Like I think I'm just gonna start from the beginning because after I had my daughter, I thought marriage will make things easier because I wasn't married when I had my daughter, of course, before we got married. So I thought, like, for some odd reason, I thought that marriage will make things easier. That, even having a partner to share the lows with and like whatever I was struggling at the time, being a mother, I thought being married will change that part of myself. But the truth is, like, I don't think I was prepared for that emotional and mental toll that postpartum really will take on me or even on both of us because I didn't know that. I didn't know that was something that I was going to experience. Like a lot of you know, no one really know that they're going to experience postpartum. And then that was something where I was experiencing at the time, but I didn't know. And then after that, my son was born. And of course, so in between that with the postpartum, my husband and I got married. And then after 2 years after my son was born, and everything changed from there because I didn't really got over the first one. And then I went into something that I didn't know was really going to later on hurt, excuse me, hurt our relationship. So Yeah, like I said, everything changed, and you will like a lot of people say from reading and talking to people, people say, oh, it gets, better, gets better at first before it get worse. But I felt like I was drowning in all the emotion. I didn't know how to handle it, and it felt like my marriage was falling apart. But I knew it was falling apart, but I didn't really know how to explain it. I know I shared this with in the last few episodes before, but the reason why I'm sharing this because I know that I'm not alone. Like I know that for sure because I've talked to people that experienced similar situation. And if you ever felt like that, or if you know, been in a place where you felt like things are just crumbling all around, like I just want you to know this, that sometimes the breaking point is part of the rebuilding. And that's what happened to me. So I'm going to go a little deeper and share that with you in this episode. Like I said, if y'all have any question, comment, or any concern at all, please don't hesitate to email me. Again, that email is lovelifeafter18@gmail.com. And also, just if you would like to leave any things, any comment, you can also do that on our YouTube page. So, all right. I know I say I'm going to be pausing a lot because I really want this to be coming straight from, all my memory that I've remember everything that I've said before. Like I said, I did wrote a book. Everything I'm sharing with you is part of my book that or my journal that I've wrote as things were going on. So after my daughter was born, I was so overwhelmed. I knew I was exhausted, but I didn't really know where to get help. And at the time, I was constantly just questioning whether I was doing enough or whether what I was doing was good enough. But I told myself at least several times, and I also told my husband at the time that something was wrong, but I didn't know how to explain it to him. Because when when things were going on with me that I couldn't explain, like even my cycle at the time wasn't right. I didn't feel like I just knew there was something going on and it was wrong. But I told myself, at least I have a husband. At least, I have my parents. At least I have my sibling, my mother, and so on. I thought like, that my marriage will be kind of like an anchor, that will help me. I remember finding myself, just feeling very isolated because I wasn't sharing what I was feeling with anybody. Um, like my parents, I wasn't sharing with nobody at all because no one knew. So, and then going through that, then my son was born, right? So my son, like I was saying earlier, my son was born after 2 years after my daughter. So those cracks deepened. When I said they deepened, they were, yeah, it got worse. My emotion were definitely all over the place. I was angry, I was frustrated, I was so sad. And I didn't really know how to talk to my husband. And for so long, I couldn't really connect. I really had no connection, no emotional connection at all with myself or with my husband. I just remember that things like, just the smallest thing, like whether like I will get up in the morning or get up at night or how to even like feed myself or let alone do laundry, things like that. All those little things like became big, like it became big within our marriage because I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't well enough to take care of myself. But I knew, for some reason, I knew that I had to take care of my kids. They were number one. Like, I didn't matter. I knew that I have to make sure that my kids were okay. I had to make sure that, they were fed, they were changed, they were washed. Like, everything, it was like this perfect cycle in my mind that they have to be okay because they were not my number one focus. my husband was not a priority to me, and I was not a priority to me. But at that time, of course, I didn't know that those were things that was gonna hurt, or make worse, make our relationship worse at the time. So it was like it was very, very hard because I built so many resentment. I built a lot of resentment. I felt like it was his fault. Like, why did I get into this? Why did I, get married? Or why did I put myself into a situation where I couldn't understand? So at the time, I didn't really, like I said, I didn't really understand it. I didn't understand why I was feeling the way I did. I thought to my like, well, I thought to myself so many times, what's wrong with me? You know? Um, or even asking myself why I don't love myself. Why I couldn't get up. Like I really did leave myself. I left myself go. But now, like just looking back, I know that love really wasn't the problem. Um, because it was a lot of unspoken needs and the pain I didn't because I didn't really talk to anybody about it. And the weight of the postpartum at the time was something that I had no idea about. So those things really led me to believe now that if I would have like just seek help, right? Then maybe it would have been different. But honestly, like I wish someone would have had told me that what I was going through, or someone could have just reached out. I don't know, like maybe not, but I just felt like at the time someone could have like, hey, what's going on with you, and really look deep. But that's not that's not something, because everybody got things going on, so we can't just assume that just because we feel a certain way that we should expect, or we should assume that the other people should know, because we're not, well, thinking now, right? We cannot feel like, or we can't assume that because we're feeling a certain way that they should automatically know. I think this is really why, like, I really want to share this postpartum story, because I had a similar encounter with a friend of mine where she was experiencing postpartum, but after things got better with her, one of the things that she said was like, well, if you've been through it, why didn't you reach out to me? And my thing was, which I don't know if at the time I was in a space where I could help her. Anyway, so but I knew that I have went through postpartum, and in the back of my head, I knew that she was probably experiencing certain, some of the um things that I experienced. But I did reach out a few times and I said, hey, just wanted to check on you. But I think what I should have done was, just show up for her, like not asking, because if I see the sign, then I should just show up. But a lot of the time, you don't know if that's that's really what they need. So this is why, like, I'm sharing this because I've struggled with this a lot, because I feel like no one really know when we are in those situations, right? If I would have seek therapy at the time, I think it would have been better. I would have like know a little bit more how to navigate the actual situation. So with the depression, right? So um sorry, I'm drinking water. So it's it's really not the sadness. I feel like it's the exhaustion, the anger that we feel. Like I feel like a lot of the time. So, okay, let me just explain that. I'm going to go back a little bit and just explain this. So, postpartum depression, right? I feel like for me, it was also about feeling disconnected from my husband and even from myself. That's how I felt. And then the resentment came from, you know, like, I guess because if I felt like I was a bad person, I knew I wasn't a bad mom, but I knew in my heart I felt like I was a bad wife. Um, and I mean, of course, back then I wouldn't have said that I felt like that, but when I was taking the time for myself, it felt like it made me look like a bad wife. I hope that makes sense. But the resentment happened when I feel like when our needs are unmet and we don't know how to ask for help or just even ask that we need somebody, right? And another thing about that was when I felt like my identity as myself is shifted because first of all, I feel like becoming a mom didn't just like add to my life, it also added to me as a person. And it completely changed me. And of course, at the time, I was mourning the person that I used to be, and I didn't even realize it because I was young. I was 19 when I got pregnant, so I was 20 years old, and I was young, and I didn't realize that all that stuff was going through my mind. And I know a lot of people that have kids at a young age. Of course, they feel and experience that, but we don't really know how to cope with it. We don't know, what we can do to help us when we're going through those processes. So, with that being said, like I want to talk a little bit about lessons. I want to talk about the lessons that I learned going through that part of my life of what experiencing postpartum. Um, I during this time though, like because I feel like those lessons they really become a foundation of my healing journey now as a person. Um the one of the things that okay, I'm gonna go in my journal now and just read a few things from my journey. So one of the things that I learned that I remember just like saying to myself that it was okay. It was okay to feel what I feel, that my emotion don't make me who I am. So I just wanted to share that with you, that one the lesson that I feel like everyone should know is or to remember is that your emotion don't make you a bad wife or a bad mother or even a bad person. They is because you're human. You're human. Don't worry about what anybody think of you or don't worry about what you can do for other, but really focus on making yourself a better person. um I also realized that communication is everything because resentment, well really when we grow in resentment and we're doing it in silence and not really like learning what to say at the time or even the lesson, I know it was overwhelming, right? And because I needed help and I didn't know how to seek it. So with that, I will say that if you need help, try to do whatever you can to find help, okay? Do whatever you can to seek help. It's easier said than done, right? It's easier said than done. But the lesson in that is that communication is everything. We have to learn to communicate. We have to learn to put our pride aside. So that's another lesson. I would say another one really is okay. I learned that healing doesn't happen all at once. It's a process, and I always tell people that it's a process, and asking for help, whether through therapy, friends, or even just a conversation, is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. So if you need help, ask for help. Don't be ashamed. Just do whatever you can to put your pride aside and ask for help. I know that was a handful because I know a lot of time when I'm recording and I'm sitting by myself and talking, sometimes it feel like I'm rambling, which I apologize for that. I just try to like say everything in my heart that I feel before it goes away, or sometimes even like taking a pen and writing down the stuff that come to mind really do help. So as I share this with you guys, I want you to know that like if you ever felt like you've gone through certain things that makes you think or any sign that it could be postpartum, you may not even know that you're going through it. Or I guess what I'm saying is if you ever feel like you're alone, um I want you to know that postpartum is hard. Marriage, if you are married, marriage is harder. um just I guess life itself, what I'm trying to say is life itself is hard. But the struggle does not define us. They actually shape us. Always remember that, right? And sharing this with you, and if this episode like resonate with you at all, I really would love to hear about it. And also, I want to know if anybody's been through this and they've learned anything or about how to navigate this whole process of postpartum, or even things that happen in their life that was something that's just hard for them. I want to hear what helped you heal. And I really want to keep this conversation going because I feel like we don't talk about this a lot. And that's why I really want to like continue to share this with you, because I feel like together, if the more we share, the more we share with people, we're going to help somebody else. So, with that being said, I just want to say thank you guys so much for letting me share this part of my story with you. And if you are going through a difficult season right now, I know that you're not alone. I want you to know that you are not alone. And that the days that you are feeling, the hard days that you are feeling right now, are going to get better. And remember that hard moments don't really like break us. They really do, I guess, they teach us to rebuild what we really want in life, right? So they just teach us how to really rebuild our life again. So, and with that, I really next time I really want to share about forgiveness, how forgiveness transformed my life and changed my relationship with myself. And I would love to share that with you. I for some reason I want to go a little bit more deep into this conversation, but I feel like right now I'm just going to leave it here, and hopefully I can, have somebody on that want to talk a little bit more about it. And if y'all have any question, I really do want to, I'm going to wait till at the end of the season to really, like I said, this season is season of growth, season of sharing, and really like, feel empowered and not feel ashamed and be our authentic self and not hide from, behind the curtain, just like be ourselves and our true self. So with that being said, if you have like any question or any comments regarding this episode, please don't hesitate to email at lovelifeafter18@gmail.com, or just hit up on our social media at love.lifeafter. And anything that you have, I promise you, I'm going to answer. I'm not holding back this season at all. I just really want to share that part of me and then the lessons I've learned that has shaped the person that I am now. That's on this healing journey. Um, I'm not gonna say I've healed. I say I'm in the process, because healing is a process. It's a long process that we go through as human. Oh, excuse me. So again, thank y'all so much. Until next time, I just want to encourage you to keep moving forward, keep loving life after, and always know that you are stronger than you realize, and your strength is what's going to get through to the other side of your adversity. And I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next episode.